Hello students, I'm Shruti Mehendale from Deccan Education Society Secondary School, Pune. Students, today we are going to see story of a real hero, and the name of the hero is Arjan Singh. Students, I still remember when I was watching Uri movie. I felt that I should do something for my country, and it was just a screen story, but still the impact was so deep. And I'm sure when you will learn, you will read about this great real hero Arjun Singh, you will get inspired intensely. So let's see lesson 1.3 on wings of courage. Lesson number 1.3 on wings of courage. Air Force Marshal Arjun Singh, an icon of India's military history, will always be remembered as a war hero who had successfully led a young IF during the 1965 Indo-Pak War. Students, Arjun Singh created history of Air Force. He is the legend of IF. Legend means extremely famous person. IF is the air arm of the Indian Armed Forces. Its mission is to secure Indian airspace and to conduct aerial warfare during armed conflict. Due to Arjan Singh's contribution and extraordinary work, he is remembered whenever we talk about IF. He is a symbol of military history. He is a war hero as he had shown his talent, bravery in war, remarkably during Indo-Pak War that took place in 1965. He successfully handled IAF, that is Indian Air Force, as it was not developed that much. The reason was that we just got freedom from British rule. The only officer to attain the highest post of marshal, the Air Force equivalent to the Army's 5-star field marshal. Singh was a fearless and exceptional pilot who had flown more than 60 different types of aircraft. Students, he is the only one who attained means to receive or to get, the marshal rank, the highest rank of IF. He could get this rank as he was fearless person, the person who did not have any fear of any danger. He accepted all challenges bravely. He is the only one to receive this rank. Till date, no one has received it. So, we can imagine his great extent of work. He played a major role in transforming the IF into one of the most potent. Now, potent means powerful and effective air forces globally and the fourth biggest in the world. His contribution to the Indian Air Force is monumental. Monumental means of great importance or enormous. To the list, the IF grew with him. He was the epitome of military leadership. Epitome, a perfect example in a classical sense, and it is therefore not surprising that he was honored with the rank of Air Force Marshal. Former Vice Chief of IF, Kapil Kak said. Students, it is a very proud moment when great people talk about your work. They pat your back for your performance and achievements. So here in this paragraph, we come to know that Arjan Singh's work was appreciated by many great personalities. One of them was Kapil Kak. He was a retired officer of the Indian Air Force who rose to the rank of Air Vice Marshal. So, his word of appreciation are very much important. According to Kak's opinion, Arjan Singh transformed transformed, changed IF into one of the strongest, powerful air force in the world. USA on the first position, then Russia, third is China, and fourth number is of India. Today, India has more than 2000 planes, and the credit of this progression goes to Arjun Singh. So, according to Kapil Kak, Arjun Singh strongly deserved this marshal rank. Singh was honored with the rank of marshal on the Republic Day in 2002. Sam, Hormuzji, Framji, Jamshedji Manekshaw and K.M. Kariappa were the only two army generals honored with the rank of Field Marshal. The rank of Marshal was presented to Arjun Singh on the Republic Day in 2002. This marshal rank of IF was compared with two other great personalities of military. First, Sam Hermeshji, Jamshedji Manekshaw, and second, K.M. Kariappa. These two were army generals who received the rank of Field Marshal. Kariappa led India during Indo-Pak War of 1947 and Manekshaw led Indo-Pak War of 1971. Led means became leader. Known as a man of few words, Singh was not only a fearless pilot but also had profound knowledge. Now profound means very deep about air power and applied it in a wide spectrum of areas. Singh had assiduously working hard and showing careful attention to details. Led the IF during the 1965 war and denied success to Pakistani Air Force, though it was better equipped with American support. His most outstanding contribution was during that war, said Kak. This biography throws light on many qualities of Arjun Singh. We come to know that Arjun Singh was a man of few words. It means he did not speak a lot. As rightly said, actions speak louder than words. His work, actions spoke a lot. His deep knowledge about planes and his continuous hard efforts helped him to grow an IF as well. Kak rightly points out that Arjun Singh had all the qualities that a leader must have. He showed his skill during Indo-Pak War. He considered very minute means small things. That time the equipments were not that much developed. And on the other hand, Pakistan was strongly supported by America. Still, because of Arjun Singh and his many qualities, we could defeat Pakistan. Commending his role in the war, Y.B. Chauhan, Yashwantrao Balwantrao Chauhan, the then defense minister, had written, Air Marshal Arjun Singh is a jewel of a person, quite efficient and firm, unexcitable but a very able leader. He was officially praised by the then defense minister Yashwantrao Balwantrao Chauhan. He called Arjun Singh as a jewel of a person. It means he was very precious or asset for us and for our country. He was very efficient. By using limited resources, he showed great reason. While doing so, he took many decisions firmly. He was good decision maker. He was balanced. He could control his emotions very well. As we know that while fighting on the field, one may get angry. One may lose emotional balance. One may feel excited as well. But Arjun Singh was calm, quiet, but still active officer of IAF. And these all qualities made him a successful leader of IAF. In 1944, the Marshal had led a squadron against the Japanese during the Arakan campaign, flying close air support missions during the crucial Imphal campaign and later assisted the advance of the Allied forces to Yangon, formerly Rangoon. This paragraph speaks about the actual work field of Arjun Singh. He headed a squadron in 1944 against Japanese. The name of the campaign was Arakan Campaign. Squadron means fleet of a fighter planes. Fleet means group. It is a collective noun. Example, 16 planes make one squadron. Arjun Singh led one squadron. That time, Japan captured many regions. It wanted to capture Arakan area. So Arjun Singh, by using his air power skill, attacked on Japanese. Imphal campaign was the battle that took place in 1944 during the Second World War, when the Japanese tried to invade India or British India, as we were under the control of British. During this Imphal campaign, Arjun Singh and IF supported ground military forces. Yangon is a city in Myanmar, which was formerly known as Rangoon. Now, we have heard the term Allied Forces many a times. It means the group of countries that fought the Second World War as one group. It included Britain, France, Australia, Canada, New Zealand, India, China, the Soviet Union, and United States of America. In recognition of his feat means achievement, he was awarded the Distinguished Flying Cross, that is D.E.S.C., on the spot by the Supreme Allied Commander of Southeast Asia, the first Indian pilot to have received it. Singh was selected for the Empire Pilot Training Course at Royal Air Force RAF Cranwell in 1938. When he was 19 years old, he retired from service in 1969. There are many achievements of Arjun Singh. He was awarded as Distinguished Flying Cross D.E.S.C. in 1944. The D.E.S.C. award is given to a person who shows extraordinary achievement while participating in aerial flight. Arjun Singh showed his bravery in Arakan campaign, Imphal campaign. This is more remarkable that he was the first Indian pilot to receive this award. He was awarded on the spot for his services as a wing commander. He attended the Royal Staff College in the UK. Singh was born on April 15, 1919 in Lailapur, now Faisalabad, Pakistan, and completed his education at Montgomery, now Sahiwal, in Pakistan. His first assignment on being commissioned was to fly Westland Wapiti biplanes in the Northwestern Frontier Province as a member of the No. 1 RIAF Squadron. Patriotism was in his blood, as his father and grandfather also served the army. Arjun Singh completed his education in Montgomery, and at the age of 19, he was selected for the Empire Pilot Training Course at RAF Cranwell. After a brief stint with newly formed No. 2 RIAF Squadron, where the Marshal flew against the tribal forces, he later moved back to No. 1 Squadron. As a flying officer to fly the Hawker Hurricane, he was promoted to the rank of Squadron Leader in 1944. Arjun Singh's first assignment was to fly Wapiti biplane in Northwestern Frontier Province. Westland Wapiti was a single-engine and two-seater military plane. It had two fixed wings. Northwestern Frontier Province was formed in 1901, which became a part of Pakistan in 1947 and was renamed to Khyber Pakhtunkhwa in 2010. Here you can see Arjun Singh as a flight lieutenant with a group Indian pilots from No. 1 Squadron standing by a Hawker Hurricane World War II. For his role in successfully leading the squadron in combat, he was awarded the Distinguished Flying Cross D.E.S.C. in 1944 on August 15, 1947. He achieved the unique honor of leading a flight past of over 100 IAF aircraft over the Red Fort in Delhi. In recognition of his contribution, it means to make a note of his contribution. When India became free, that time Arjun Singh got unique honor of leading a ceremonial flight of an aircraft over Delhi Red Fort. Ceremonial event means related to public event. Example 26 January, 15th August, etc. There were 100 aircrafts and complete charge was given to Arjun Singh. And it was very prestigious moment for him to get this honor on the first day of independence, India's independence. After his promotion to the rank of wing commander, he attended the Royal Staff College at UK. Immediately after Indian independence, he commanded Ambala in the rank of group captain. In 1949, he was promoted to the rank of Air Commodore and took over. Took over means took charge of as Air Officer Commanding AOC of an operational command which later came to be known as Western Air Command. Arjun Singh led Ambala as a group captain. Ambala is a city in the state of Haryana. It is a large cantonment. Now, cantonment means military quarters, or it is also referred as a permanent military station. Another major term in the paragraph is operational command. It is an authority granted to a commander to assign missions or tasks. Later on, after independence, it came to be known as Western Air Command. Arjun Singh was the in charge of Western Air Command in 1949. You can see the various ranks that are mentioned in the paragraph. Wing Commander, Group Captain, Air Commodore, Air Officer Commanding. These are the different ranks of IAF. Singh had the distinction of having the longest tenure as AOC, Air Officer Commanding, of an operational base, initially from 1949 to 1952 and then again from 1957 to 1961. After his promotion to the rank of Air Vice Marshal, he was appointed as the AOC in C, that is Air Officer Commanding in Chief of an operational command. Singh got a very long tenure as an AOC of an operational base. First from 1949 to 52 and then again from 1957 to 61. So total it was for 9 years. He held AOC position, Air Officer Commanding, for 9 years. And from AOC he was promoted to the rank of AOC in C, that is Air Officer Commanding in Chief. Towards the end of the 1962 war, he was appointed as the Deputy Chief of the Air Staff and he became the Vice Chief of the Air Staff in 1963. He was the overall commander of the Joint Air Training Exercise Shiksha, held between IAF, RAF, Royal Air Force, and RAAF, that is Royal Australian Air Force. Students, tenure means period of work. 1962 war took place between India and China. We were badly defeated in the battle. IF was not that much strong, so we lost it. Though we lost it, but we fought very bravely at that time. And IF took it as a challenge and focused on the development and modernization and defeated China in 1967. Arjun Singh was promoted to Deputy Chief of the Air Staff in 1962 and was made the Vice Chief of the Air Staff in 1963. Shiksha exercise means joint training held in Air Force in different countries. So, Arjun Singh was overall in charge of the joint training that was held between IF, that is Indian Air Force, RAF, that is Royal Air Force, and RAAF means Royal Australian Air Force. So, here again his talent and skill both were seen. Now, in this paragraph also, few ranks of IF are mentioned which were achieved by Arjun Singh. Let's see. The first one is AOC, then Air Vice Marshal and AOC and in C. AOC in C. On August 1, 1964, in the rank of Air Marshal, the Marshal of the Air Force Arjun Singh took over reins of IF at a time when it was still rebuilding itself and was getting ready to meet new challenges. Singh was the first air chief to keep his flying currency till his CAS rank. CAS means Chief of the Air Staff and flying currency means flying currency up-to-date skills and experience of flying aircraft or craft. Took over reins is a phrase. It means complete charge was in the hand of Arjun Singh. He took the leadership of IF when it had its own challenges. IF was developing, technological hindrances were there, but in this situation only, Arjun Singh grew and he developed IF also. He set different milestones. He could do it as it was his passion. It was his dream. Having flown over 60 different types of aircraft from pre-World War II era biplanes to the more contemporary gnats and vampires, he has also flown in transport aircraft like Super Constellation. Students, he was the only one air chief who flew many or different types of planes. He remained flyer till his CAS rank, Chief of the Air Staff. He flew the planes those were in existence during World War II, that is Wapiti biplane, Hawker Hurricane, and after that the contemporary gnats and vampires and transport planes like Super Constellation. He was so fortunate to fly variety of planes. He liked to learn new things. He kept updating himself. So these qualities also we see in respected Arjun Singh. You can see different types of fighter planes over here. In 1965, when Pakistan launched its Operation Grand Slam with an armored thrust targeted at the vital town of Akhnur, Singh led IF through the war with courage, determination and professional skill. He inspired IF to victory despite the constraints means limitations, imposed on the full-scale use of Air Force combat power. Students, this was the great turning point in the life of Arjun Singh and IF as well. In 1965, Pakistan launched Grand Slam operation. It was a key operation of 1965. It was planned to attack Vital. As I said, Vital means important. Akhnur Bridge in Jammu Kashmir. It was also a plan that they would threat Jammu Kashmir residents. But it was unsuccessful as counter-attack was done by Indian military and Air Force as well. Under the leadership of Arjun Singh, it was successful. Y.B. Chauhan, the then defense minister, asked him that how much time he needed to send Air Force to help military of India. He said 1 hour. And really students, within 1 hour, he reached there with the Indian Air Force team. He was successful in getting victory. Due to his great respect and love for his motherland, he could save Akhnur area from the wicked plan of Pakistan. Singh was awarded Padma Vibhushan for his astute means sharp, leadership of the Air Force during the war. Subsequently means afterward. Subsequently, in recognition of the Air Force's contribution during the war, the rank of CAS was upgraded and Arjun Singh became the first Air Chief Marshal of the Indian Air Force. Singh was awarded Padma Vibhushan, second highest civilian award. It is for his bravery. He got promoted and got ranked higher and higher. CAS rank was upgraded and named as Air Chief Marshal, and Arjun Singh was the first Indian pilot to receive it. He remained a flyer to the end of his tenure in IF, visiting forward bases and units and flying with squadrons. He retired in August 1969, thereupon accepting ambassadorship. Ambassadorship means representative to Switzerland. He was Lieutenant Governor of Delhi from December 1989 to December 1990. He visited many units, bases till the end of his tenure. He worked tirelessly. After his retirement, he was appointed as an ambassador to Switzerland for building up very strong diplomatic relationship with that country. He was also appointed Lieutenant Governor of Delhi from December 1989 to December 1990. Government recognized his importance and talent, so after retirement also he had been given different tasks. Having been a source of inspiration to all the personnel of armed forces through the years, the government conferred means gave the rank of the Marshal of the Air Force upon Arjun Singh in January 2002, making him the first and the only 5-star rank officer with Indian Air Force. See students, many people see different dreams, set different career aspirations, but they see someone or the other as their ideal. Inspiration. Take example of budding singers. They consider Lata Mangeshkar as their idol. Sachin Tendulkar has retired from cricket world, but still many young cricketers consider him their role model. In the same way, Arjun Singh is an inspiration and motivation for his personnel. Personnel means staff. Government conferred him Marshal rank of Air Force in 2002, and he is the only one to receive it. So, isn't he a real hero? Yes, he is a real hero. He is an inspiration for many people and for coming generations too. Now let's see the chart of the promotions received by Arjun Singh. The promotions received by Arjun Singh are as follows: Flying Officer, Squadron Leader, Wing Commander, Group Captain, Air Commodore, Air Officer Commanding, Air Vice Marshal, Air Officer Commanding in Chief, Deputy Chief of Air Staff, Vice Chief of Air Staff, Chief of Air Staff, and Air Chief Marshal. The qualities are fearless, exceptional, potent, assiduous. He had professional skills, firm, efficient, determined, astute, and courageous. These all qualities made Arjun Singh a real hero. Hope we have learned so many things from this great real hero Arjun Singh. He is an epitome for all of us. He has set an example for all of us. Students, what do we learn from this hero? We learn that choose any field, opt for anything, but whatever you do, do it sincerely. Work hard for it, achieve it, be assiduous, and then success is yours. Thank you.